Hi all and welcome to our today's special broadcast where we are covering the HADO World China versus Korea friendly exchange tournament happening out in Shanghai. We will also be the follow-up to this, which is happening tomorrow in Shanghai, but overnight here in the UK. We'll also be putting that out tomorrow as well with English commentary on it. So this is our first time having a play with this, seeing how it works, and we're going to be linking across to the cameras in Shanghai, but doing the commentary here in the UK. So first of all, for those that haven't encountered HADO World before, because that's what we're playing today, going to go through a quick explanation of what it is, how it works, how it's different from HADO PvP. So HADO World, unlike HADO PvP, has characters that you can choose from. And there are 12 characters in total, each one of which has a special ability, a special move, a thing it can do that sets it aside from the standard HADO setup. The way that this works is you have your standard energy blasts, you have your standard charge rates, scale, and so forth, but each character, rather than shields specifically, has a special power. And that special power allows them to affect the game world in different ways. As well as that, rather than having the sectional target that we normally get in HADO PvP, where you can be taken out in one hit if it hits the center, or the sections go out, here each character has got health, and they have a target, a single target marker, and as their health declines, that target marker gets smaller. So it's actually harder to take somebody out, especially in this case with these different abilities. So Nicholas is who was on there. His ability is to steal other people's health and add it to his own. Shadow, he creates a clone of himself that then attacks people as well as him. Zuruxi there, she produces a huge energy blast that can smash into opponents. Hanzo has got a stealth mode, makes him harder to hit and reduces damage when he does get hit. Otto, he produces a drone that flies around the game area, firing at the opposing players. So lots and lots of different things these guys can do, and their synergies are really different. Victoria, she fires an explosive shot, so it hits and then detonates afterwards, allowing to get secondary damage or potentially kill another player or damage another player who's really close. Wukong makes massive blasts of fire across the arena, which, if you don't get hit with them, is fine, but they last for a while. If you run through them, you take damage. Eleven, he's got an invincibility skill, allowing us to step up and take a whole load of fire without actually taking any health damage. Ryan, he produces the classic HADO PvP defensive shields that we're used to from normal matches and setups. Lin is a healer. So as you said, that life marker that players have got that decreases in size, Lin can actually restore their teammates' health. Then we have Diana. She does a sticky shot, so it stays with you for a while before exploding. And Lillian here, she fires arrows that pierce through shields, hitting the people on the far side. We're back to Nicholas, who's got that vampiric ability to hit and damage his opponents and take health away from them. So we've got these 12 characters, so therefore 12 special abilities that really diverges away from the way that something like HADO PvP plays. So it's a really different experience for people for how things work. And we're currently just waiting for the cameras in Shanghai to go live, so we can move across to the game there. It's going to be 15 Korean players versus 15 Chinese players. It's the top 15 from each country. Each player's going to be playing at least one match. But we are hopefully very soon going to have that camera from China go live, so we can take it across to the courts. They're currently just doing the team introductions over there at the moment. So I said it's 15 players from each country competing. So for Korea, we have got the players from right list here from KASAP, Betty Kim, WS, Sniper, and Arc. And from China, we have players from teams Idol Producer, Berry Hurricane, Juice, Heaven, Aka, Flash, and LCG. Different numbers of players from different one, but 15 players in total from the two countries. And today's kind of like the warm-up and introduction to a lot of it, with the main tournament then rolling through tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to include both HADO World and HADO PvP in the gameplay. Right. So we're just waiting for that. Just waiting for the cameras there in Shanghai to come live so we can go and join them all. So they're just on their sort of like team setup at the moment. Hopefully, it's just they haven't put the cameras live at their end. Because we've been playing with this all morning. We know it all works perfectly. But today, obviously, being the point where we actually go live, is the point where I don't currently have feed coming through, which is slightly concerning. Dealing with our technical department. For those of you who know about what's going on here in Coventry, our marketing manager Z is currently in Shanghai working with HADO China. So she's handling all the tech side at that end. And we should have everything up and running really nice and soon. But this is going to be a really different one. So previously on here, we've only ever shown HADO PvP. So that's what we play in the UK. HADO World is a variation of HADO with a lot more gamification to it, characterization to it, which is played exclusively in China, Korea, and Japan. It doesn't exist outside of there currently, but it gives a very different way of approaching the sport, approaching the gameplay, and with this idea of these 12 characters that you can pick from. And in the future, there may be more, but they give lots of different things out there. So we've got shielding damage, we've got healing, we've got huge hits, we've got damage over time, we've got area effects, we've got vampiric elements to it, we've got invincibility, we've got additional players effectively created through the clones and through the drone attacks. So there's a lot of different stuff we're going to get here, a lot of different tactics. Also, depending which character you're playing, you have a different amount of health. Your basic shot does a different amount of damage as well. So you effectively have sort of tank style characters who've got a lot more health, DPS characters whose shots do more damage. So a lot of variation as well. So it's not just about the special power that comes with the character, but it's about their overall stat set and how that works together for you and how that then integrates with your team and everything goes around it. So a lot more layers of the tactics and strategy than we have in the classic HADO PvP, and a lot more sort of variety going on around it with this use of characters. So it's much closer to almost like picking characters for Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or something like that, where you're choosing those different character types, but now you're playing as teams with those character abilities interlinked. So I'm actually just going to go back to the characters because I'm still working through them all, because a lot of this is still new to me as well. I mean, we've been out there, obviously, we've seen tournaments and things, and obviously, the England team have competed in HADO World tournaments, both in the World Cup last year and out at Games of the Future, but it's still something that we're really only just getting to grips with. And it's a very new sort of style of setup to us, an additional aspect there. So again, these 12 characters, you can see them just flicking through there. We get different styles from them. They've got these different stat builds, different sets, different ideas. And all these different elements we can build in there. And it does therefore produce a really different style to the gameplay. Now, one of the other elements here is the games are not just who gets the most points in 80 seconds. The games are longer, but at the same time, if you score sufficient knockouts, the game can finish before time. But because obviously there's these restoration abilities, so the vampiric skills, the healing skills, and so on, it's actually much harder to knock somebody out. So we get quite a bit of variation. So the games can go much longer. Equally so, they could be over in a flash if teams can really get their damage output together and target the opposition. Countered though by the fact that obviously you now don't have that sectional target. You can't be taken out in one hit. They've got to actually take all of the health away from your target point. So the whole thing plays in a much more sort of elongated format. So it's a longer game. And again, it's a strategy of, do you try and run to time, or do you try and take all your opponents out? Obviously, if a team's built around sort of tanking damage to high health characters, healing abilities, restoration, they're going to be very hard to take those players out. But if you want to try and go that tactic, you're going to have to choose characters with high damage output, which in turn could potentially make you more vulnerable yourselves. So just double checking now on all of our settings for today's camera points. And for some reason, we're currently getting an issue with our camera. So, character screen might be going blank for a minute because I'm just going to go and try and move across. So this should be lovely view of the Chinese court, which we're not currently getting. Okay. So that's slightly strange. Sorry about that, guys. We obviously have some kind of small technical issue, and we are going to try and sort that out rapidly. So yeah, just give me a sec. Again, if the screen goes blank during the stream, really sorry, but we're trying to try and get things up and running for you as fast as we possibly can. Aha, and we should now be live. So there we go. Everything should be coming back to how it should be, and we should all be good in theory. Yes, there we go. We have the cameras in Shanghai. Brilliant. So it's our very first time doing this kind of crossover. So we have the both the Korean and Chinese teams there. I've currently got their commentators muted because obviously it's not very helpful having me trying to compete with them. So you're going to have to put it with me, with them sort of talking in the background. What we're going to try and do as we go through this is obviously as we shift between these points, so these explanations, we're going to leave basically their side of things running, and I'm going to try and chop back and forward between myself and them so we can see where we're at, and also so you're not sort of watching them whilst hearing my voice, which would be slightly strange. But hopefully we should be up and going now, and everything should be good. Okay, so we've gone team selections now. Coin ready. Not entirely certain where they're going from with this, but hopefully we will all be good. So the only audio we've got coming through them should be when we reach game, so we'll have the game effects coming through as well. And yeah, any questions as well from anyone who's watching on the stream, who's not encountered HADO World before, who wants any sort of explanations happening, please drop them in there. The HADO World abilities are different as well in the way they operate. So with shields in standard HADO PvP, you have a finite number of them. In HADO World, it's different. Your special abilities have a cooldown period. And that's basically so you can use them multiple times during the course of a match, but it's based upon you having to wait for the cooldown before you can use them again. And you'll also see a graphic that comes around the player's feet at the point that they activate the abilities. So I've got a nice shot there of the main tournament stage in the HADO Shanghai venue. It's a nice big stage area, lots of good effects all around it, and a nice seating area at the front, which we are very jealous. But they do have a lot more space than us, so I suppose we'll let them off on that one. Players currently just making their selections for their characters and their stat choices. And apparently we're going to be starting off with the 2v2 rounds and then moving on to the 3v3 rounds. And then potentially onto a best of three 3v3, depending on the outcomes of the initial 2v2s and 3v3s. So today is very much the opening rounds, the opening games, the setups for everything before we move on to then the full set for tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to have sort of 3 tiers of team ability tournaments running across both HADO PvP and the HADO World. Okay, just wait for the teams now to finish their character selections, and see where we can go from there.
哇，想一想就十分的刺激啊！是的，对的。那其实我们先看一下第一轮的一个选择，目前我们从现场已经可以看到他们双方部署的一个选手了。哦，对，我们通过这个镜头上这边已经可以看出来。
Hopefully we won't be waiting much longer now. Just wait for the
第一轮 BO3 里的第一局是一个
the teams to finish those selections, choose the characters, choose the stats, and get everything underway for us.
两位小 位小将，对的。
对。
应该来说，如果我作为教练啊，我可能会把就是压箱底可能往后靠一靠。但是呢，也不一定，有些教练可能会选择我上来先把前2轮的比赛先稳定下来、赢下来，用我实力最强的选手稳定赢下来，那我后面比赛其实就没有那么紧张，没有压力那么大，对不对？
对，2种都是不一样的一个排兵布阵。
对，是的，那就看我们要去克制对手了。
是的，也要看选手的心态，可能有的选手的心态，他就是刚上场的时候，这个体力呀、什么的都很好，那他刚上场的时候表现就非常好，去把他排在前面。
是，镜头给到了是我们大兵跟舅子，看来哇，这2位是我们国内最顶尖的小孩哥，真的是。
Okay, so that's our teams all selected now. Let's pop the audio over there down. So our first setup there, China versus Korea. China red, Korea on the blue. Paul Gunn and Eve for Korea. And the BGR team there for China. So we're really interested to see how to play. Said HADO World is not something that we have here currently in the UK. Whereas it's been part of the tournament scene in China and Korea for a while. So we're expecting some really good gameplay from these guys. They're very experienced in this format. They know what they're doing in terms of their team synergies and abilities. So hopefully, as soon as we shift back to main stage, we're going to get some really great gameplay going on. And also real nice eye-opener, because it's fantastic that we had the Korean teams come and visit us a few weeks ago here in Coventry. We've got a really good kind of idea of what their kind of sort of level is. But other than teams like Idol Producer from China, who we've competed against in some of the international matches, not really got a feel for the general ability level for the other Chinese teams. So it'd be a really good opportunity to see how they compare to the Koreans, and we know how good the Koreans are. And so give us a view ahead of the next major internationals, which are like to be end of this year at the next World Cup. Give our players here in the UK and anyone else around Europe that's watching the stream an idea of what's our benchmarking, what kind of levels are we going to expect from these guys, how much we're going to have to work to either catch up to them or stay ahead. So here we go. Our character choice is being locked in now. So bottom left there, we've got our drone character. So we've got 2 one side, 1 the other that's been chosen so far. I've got to admit, I still can't remember all of the names. So now we've got the drone player, we've got the clone on the Chinese side. And on the Korean side, we're currently going for the clone and the explosive attacks by the looks of it. So people looking to sort of double up on their amount of firepower there between with the clones. Everyone seems to be quite keen on that one. Oh, sorry, it's 2v2, isn't it, this one? I'm already forgetting the brief myself. So 2v2 for the first round. So some changes being made on the Chinese selection there. So we've got drone and shield. So they're going for a high damage output and defensive. And on the Korean side, just doing their final selections now. So we've got the explosive shots character Victoria. And looks like we're going for Lian, who has got shield piercing. It's a really good option there. So shields and drones from China, shield negation and explosive shots from Korea. So definitely a sort of a tank crowd control tactic coming out from China here, and what looks like a pretty much full-on DPS tactic from the Korean side. Just making their stat selection. So again, just like HADO PvP, you get your stat points to spend, but here you're rather than the shield power, it affects the strength of your special ability. So you can vary your shot size, your shot scale, your speed, your charge rates, and also the power of that character's unique ability. See, high unique abilities mean they can do a lot of damage to the activate, but you've got this cooldown time in between uses, which means it's more difficult to rely on it in any way. Put a little bit of background noise on. Bit weird watching everyone sort of chant and shout and stuff and you can't hear anything. And obviously main stats mean you've got those standard things we would normally rely on in HADO, so your shots, scales, speed, all the rest of it there. But those special abilities really, really are key to how things play through during the matches. So again, it's part of that big tactical choice for do you go down the line of relying on special powers, but knowing that you can have cooldowns in between usage where you're going to have to basically dodge a lot because you've invested because you're so focused on that special ability, or are you going on the more mundane mainline skills and not special ability, in which case you don't have that extra edge, that extra element to come and help you out. Okay, just doing our welcoming for the teams on court now. Okay then guys, so opening game, HADO World China versus Korea in Shanghai, brought to you by the wonders of modern technology here from HADO Coventry. Okay, so got those big life markers in front of the players, so very, very different from what we see in the HADO PvP. Those life markers shrink as they get hit, as their life force goes down, until you finally get the KO when the target is fully destroyed. Okay, game on. Okay, got a flash around the character name there from the Chinese player producing his drone. You can see now floating around the front edge of the court area. Ability flash in there from the Korean players and the second Chinese player. So that flash around the name means they've activated their relevant character's special ability. Shots coming in now, that drone causing some chaos with cross shots coming through. Shielding on the left hand, on the far side there as well from the Chinese shield player. Remember, we've got that, the Korean player's got that ability to pierce through shields though. Those big arrow attacks. Nice play so far, no knockouts either side though. First point in for China. Korean player, second Korean player, very, very low on health on his front edge. She's a Chinese player on the front edge, also very low on health. Second point in for China though. Korea still looking to score, 10 seconds remaining. Great evasion work from the Chinese players here. Shots angling around those shields, and that is a 2-0 win in the opening game for China. Great, great work from the Chinese players there. Really, really good on-point evasion and nice wear down and takedown of the Korean players. Using the shields to basically block the incoming fire, using the drone to constantly stack up the damage. And the Korean players said they'd gone for characters with ability sets that let them do a lot of damage, but didn't really give them any kind of defense or recovery capacity. So all that the Chinese players had to do was just keep that damage ticking up over the course of the game, keep themselves shielded and dodging to keep themselves protected, whilst letting that drone just chip constantly away at the health for the Korean players. Really effective tactics. We saw there, 2-0 win for China in the first round of the 2v2. So we've got our next coin flip going on. So this allows this gives the choice between the teams for who takes first character selection. The referee's holding that up to indicate. Got to admit, I'm not sure who took it there, but we should be all good to go now.
Okay, so got a bit more information just come through. So we'll give a bit more background to what we're seeing and how things are working. We'll just drop some of the background sound out a little bit while we do that, and we'll wait for the next 2v2 to come onto court. So the hero selection mode, rounds 1 to 6. So the first 6 rounds of this, what we're going to see, use a draft mode, where teams take turn in selecting heroes. Selected heroes cannot be picked by the opposing team. So once you've chosen a character, that's it. It's locked in. That does mean that choosing first gives you more option. Choosing second allows you to pick counters to whatever the opponents have chosen in the first round. So again, big tactical choice. Do you choose first or second there? As I said, selections are visible to both teams, and you have a maximum of 60 seconds in which to make your selections. So the it's a coin toss at the start that decides obviously who picks first and how who has the choice about who picks first and how it goes from there. So as we move through into the rounds, though, as we move ahead, we'll get a situation where the losing team gets to make the choice rather than it being the coin toss scenario. So here we've got, it's looking like we're going to have a 3v3 coming up next. So again, China versus Korea. Korea have made the first choice there. And yeah, if we get to a tie or later on in the games, the game shifts point where duplicate heroes are allowed and hero selection is hidden from the other team. But currently in these early rounds, each hero can only be chosen once, and the opposing team can see the heroes as they're selected in order. So open choice there for Korea on their heroes is Zeroxy. Zeroxy produces a giant energy blast. For anyone that's a fan of Naruto, it's awfully reminiscent of a Rasengan. So China looks like they've locked in the drone character and the shielder again, which is what we saw in the 2v2. There's a bit of chop and change going on there, so maybe an alteration on one of those two. But they definitely seemed to, the combination of the drone and the shield seemed really effective. The drone being able to just chip away at the opposing team, whilst the shield's there protected your own players from incoming damage. So as a combo, that definitely seemed to work well. And it looks like they're going to be working with that again. The Zeroxy giant energy blast does allow for a huge amount of damage, but obviously your opponent knows it's coming. So things like potentially getting shields up at the right time or trying to take you out whilst you're building up the energy blast, it does have some vulnerability that goes with it. Okay, so it's choices there updating from the Korean side. So again, we have the explosive shots. I believe that is for Victoria in the middle there, and Wukong, who produces the big sort of blast of fire across the court that cause constant damage for players as they are moving through the area that he's set on fire. Just waiting on our final selection now from the Chinese players. And that final selection is Lin. Lin is a healer. So yeah, China really focusing on this sort of longer term setup. So they've got a drone that can attack without damage being brought back to the player. So the drone sits on the center line, very awkward because it keeps popping shots at odd angles. It's quite high in your eye line, so it's difficult to watch it and watch those shots coming in. They've got shielder, they've got healing. They're definitely playing a tank sort of long last game. Korea here focusing on area effect damage with the Wukong, the big energy blasts, and the explosive attacks. So they're really going out for both direct damage and area effect damage against this healing tank and summon based fighting style that we're seeing from China. So real difference in the two tactical approaches from the sides. Right, add a bit more sound back in, so we get a bit of game sound coming through as well. Just in that final preparation though, so interesting to see that sort of what we saw in that style of Korea focusing on the damage output and China focusing on defensive play. That's in the 2v2. They've carried that through into the 3v3. China adding in that healer, and Korea adding in the big sort of attempt at the one-shot takedowns and the area effect damage as well.
双方对手第二局 round two
Obviously, that sort of tanking combo was very, very effective from China in the first round.
大兵小雨就
Let's see if Korea having effectively increased their firepower for this round, whether that is going to be enough to bypass it. But I think that extra healing added into the mix for China is going to be a real problem there for Korea. Yeah, the Korean players are having a lot of trouble getting enough damage in the first place, but when the Chinese players can actually heal themselves as well, that's going to very, very much make this a tougher game for the Korean team. I guess they're hoping that the area effect damage ability of Wukong is going to be enough to try and offset that healing. Yeah, giant, clearly not for trademark purposes, Rashingan appearing over the top on the Korean players. Obviously, those blasts, if they hit, they do huge amounts of damage, way more so than standard energy blasts, and they are capable of potential one-shot takedowns. A lot of points in from Wukong, so yeah, Korea really looking for that sort of damage over time effect from the Wukong attack. Big sort of blue flame left in place across the court. First point in for Korea. Korea really stacking that damage in there. Trapping the Chinese player on the far side of the firewall there, meaning that they've got to either take damage by running through it or accept they've got very limited dodging opportunities, which is really good use of that from the Korean team. But China currently 2 points ahead, point ahead, 2-1 there. So that healing ability kicking in, restoring the Chinese players' life markers. 3-2 now, scores each way. Far Chinese players taking the brunt of the attack from the Koreans, and shifts up in that front line as Wukong Flames been up in position. Fortunately, that Wukong blast seems very much off target. Great shot in there from both sides again. 4-3 now. Teams going absolutely point for point here. 10 seconds remaining. Korea needs something big here to try and pull this scoreline back to level. 5 seconds now. This is going to be another China win. 5-3. And Korea putting out plenty of damage and attacks there, but that combination of the shields and the healing from the Chinese team, that sort of longevity that's given their characters, is proving to be a real difficult thing for the Korean players to overcome. Just not able to land enough hits or do enough damage to overcome it. So really interesting to see how those tactics are playing through, and be interesting to see as we work through more and more of the matches today to see whether that preference between defense and longevity that we're seeing from Chinese teams at the moment and the preference towards damage output that we're seeing from the Korean teams, whether that stays as the theme all the way through, or whether we're going to see different play styles coming out from the teams. But currently that mix of defensive play, shields, healing, we're seeing from the Chinese players, helping them take those first 2 matches. So that second match there was only a point in it, but it was a really nice clean victory there for the Chinese team. All the way through the Korean team really seeming to struggle to get meaningful damage into the Chinese players, and especially with that mix of healing in there as well, negating the effectiveness of the Korean damage output strategy. Right, so next sets of discussions coming through. Team tactics discussions. Looking at our next set of players to be coming up on court. So Korea still looking for their first win here. Currently two games nothing in favor of China during the opening matches.
往前去猛攻，才可能说有一个机会拿到这一分。
而且整个比赛的观赏性都起来了。
是的，也把我们现场给点燃了起来了。
So again, any questions about how this all works, differences, alterations, ideas and tactics, thoughts on the choices the players are making? Please make sure you drop them in chat.
是的，当然了，这只是第一。
We'd love to hear your thoughts on HADO World and how it is, obviously really quite different in the way it plays through to the HADO PvP sport that we focus on here in the UK.
最为默契的冷风曲奇和 X， 哦，这是他们首次在国际赛场上合体。对，之前经常在训练赛看他们打啊，我们这次来期待一下他们在这个中韩对抗赛啊，虽然说不是真正的一个大型的国际的比赛，但是我们今天一个友好的交流切磋。
那我们镜头给到蓝四方旗要登场的三位选手，
这三位
哦，
基努、Bax，
这是说什么来什么？
对，还有 Tail 三位他们的最强的选手。
天哪，上来就搞这么大吗？
对，这场依旧是一个强对话啊。我们可以来介绍一下蓝色方的这三位选手啊，他们也是 WAS 的这个队伍当中的三位满编成员。哦，抱歉，不是。
So Korean team getting themselves hyped and ready. The second round of this, so the main event day for this matchup between HADO and Korea, is happening tomorrow from the perspective of Shanghai, and from our perspective, it's happening overnight between sort of like 1 a.m. and 9 a.m. What we'll be doing is we'll be having the feed from there across to us tomorrow, and we'll be adding commentary as soon as we wake up here in the UK and putting that out as well. So if you want to be able to watch it with the English commentary, you'll be able to see it on the UK HADO YouTube channel during the day tomorrow. Okay, next round of 2v2. So we've got explosive damage from the side from China, and the big machine gun attack from Korea. Just wait for Korea to make their second selection now. So they're choosing the Vampire. So as he does his special ability works, he does damage to the opposing team, and the damage he does to them, he regains as health. So he's making quite a difficult character to deal with. So what China go with for their second selection. So China, real fan of the shielder. Okay, so we've got explosive damage and shields from China, rather than the drone and shield combo we've seen before. And we've got the big one-hit machine gun damage and the health stealing, life stealing ability of the Vampire. So an attacker and a tank effectively there. So one DPS, one tank for both sides this time around. Okay, just going through their stat choices now. Obviously, how much they choose to put towards their special ability is going to make quite big differences to how effective these different roles are. Again, these little note coming through here. The LCG players, obviously, the two players coming on for Korea, we've met and trained with here in the UK. They are phenomenal players. They're really, really good. And the two Chinese players are potential new coaches. They're real sort of like rising stars here. So this is definitely a superstars face off in this 2v2. So it'd be really interesting to see how that plays through. So they've taken slightly different tactics this time, the Chinese team, to what we've seen before, as have the Koreans. So they've both gone for this mix of a DPS and a tank character choice. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how that pans out this time around.
我们先感受一下现场的氛围吧，让我们先感受一下现场的氛围。
Also very jealous of that massive LCD screen that got across the whole back edge of the court there. So just a question in the chat there. They're sort of streaming it, but obviously YouTube isn't really a thing coming out of China in the same way, which is why we're doing it this way with the crossover. So real top players here from both sides. Beautiful timing on that shield from Chinese players there, not locking that that massive energy blast from the Korean team out. Really good footwork and evasion coming through from both sides as well. Korean team though currently taking the brunt of the damage. Chinese players' health markers significantly more intact. First point in for China. Those shields, timing, positioning on them really working well. Plenty of those big attacks coming from Korea, just not able to get them to land. The evasion and dodging there from the Chinese players really, really good, getting away from those huge energy blasts. That's now both Chinese players, very, very small targets left, very limited health. They don't have any kind of health restoration skill on the Chinese side. So the tank player from Korea, the far side there, who's got the life stealing ability very much intact, keeping himself healed through his special abilities. But 2-0 currently to China. They're attacking that the energy blast player, which is Jinu on the Korean side. Finally getting the point in for Korea, but 2-1 to China. Amazing play from them. So we've trained against those particular Korean players here in the UK. We know how good they are. They are amazingly skilled players. And for the Chinese team to take that game against them 2-1, that's impressive. So yeah, I mean we know the Chinese team, Chinese players are hugely increasing in ability. They were really good anyway, but watch them step up there against two of the sort of like the real known superstars from Korea to take that game 2-1. That's impressive. The new Chinese teams coming through, absolutely going to be top flight as we move into things like the World Cup and so on later this year. Yeah, as these just put in the chat there, obviously in China, because of the different elements of technology, things like Google, YouTube, and so on, they're very heavily restricted. You have to use VPNs. It can cause all sorts of lag issues and everything else. So the stream there is actually going out via their WeChat for if you want to watch the matches live. Otherwise, so we'll be having the footage across here in the UK. We'll be recording it overnight whilst we're asleep, and then we'll put it out tomorrow with a live commentary over it as we go through from there. So 3v3 round coming up. So Korea making first selection. They're going for the explosive damage attacks. China now looking to make their first character choice. Okay, it looks like they're going for the drones again, and potentially also for that giant energy blast. Yeah, so drones and giant energy blast. So we've got a lot more damage output from the Chinese team this time. So Korea said gone for the explosive attack. And that's what it looks like. So the Wukong energy blasts. Just going back up quickly to my guide for all the characters. So we've got some choices that we haven't had made so far. So we've got Lillian there being chosen by the Korean team. So she's got the shield piercing. But this time we haven't got that heavy duty shielder on the Chinese team at all. We've got the healer. We've got the big one shot, big energy blasts, and the drone players. So they've got damage and healing on the Chinese side, and the Korean side has got targeted damage and area effect damage. So no tanks, no tank role characters been chosen by either team this side, but we've got, as I said, damage and healing from China, single target and area effect damage from Korea. So, like before, it's about whether the area effect damage of Wukong can be enough to counteract the team healing ability that we see from the character Lin. So again, we've got our it's the same players from the 2v2, but being joined by a teammate to take it up to the 3v3 for the second round. Players just get themselves up and ready to go. Okay, so heavy use there of the special abilities from Korea, relatively light from China. Two points straight in from the Chinese players at Korea, already seriously on the back foot here. And we've seen in previous games just how hard it is for the Korean players to get those points in to really sort of make any meaningful impact on the Chinese team. So a 2-point lead already at the halfway mark. Nothing on the score board yet from Korea. This is going to be a real tough one for Korea. 3rd point in for China. Korean team really, really on the ropes here. 4th point in. 1st point in for Korea now, but that's a huge mountain to climb. Chinese team absolutely tearing into the Koreans here. That healing ability kicking in again for Chinese team. Just keeps constantly just shifting the health back on their markers, undoing the hard work of the Koreans who are trying to wear them down there. 6-2 now to China. 7-2. Korean players absolutely taken apart there. Phenomenal play coming in from the Chinese team. So that is some immense gameplay there from them. Fantastic in terms of the movement, positioning around the court area from the Chinese players. Absolutely in command there. Korean players here really, really on the back foot. I mean, very, very much so in that game, but overall as well, just seemed to be knocked back on a game after game. Definitely this focus towards tanking, defense, healing that we're seeing from the Chinese team. Game after game after game, it's giving them a clear and decisive advantage against the pretty much pure damage output options that we're seeing chosen by the Korean players. So again, prepped again for the next round. So we're starting in again on a 2v2 again. So obviously today's match is purely on HADO World. Tomorrow we're going to see the difference because we'll see the HADO World and the HADO PvP being played. So HADO World historically has been sort of China's territory, I suppose. It's where they've been probably got the most experience over everybody, and where they put a lot of their training work. Whereas the HADO PvP side, Korea, historically anyway, have been notably the stronger of the two sides. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. So tomorrow, when we've got both disciplines being shown, expectation would be to see a stronger performance from Korea in the HADO PvP, and a continued strong performance from HADO China in the HADO World matches tomorrow. But for right now, the HADO World here being dominated by the Chinese players in this opening round of the China-Korea tournaments. And definitely the choice of players really sort of firing along sort of national lines, and basically the two teams having a very clear preference for the type of tactics, type of characters that they're choosing, the way they're approaching these matches, and the Korean players really this focus on damage output that we're seeing from them doesn't seem to be helping them. Again, and whereas the survivability tactics, everything that we're seeing from the Chinese players, the tanking, the shielding, the healing, does definitely seem to be giving them the edge match after match here. Okay, so China's taken two rounds so far. In order you win if you take all 4 rounds, and each round is a 2v2 and then a 3v3. If you win one of those each, then would then go to third game decider on a 3v3. But where it's a blind pick, you don't know what the other team are choosing. But we obviously haven't got to a best of 3 scenario for that third game to happen, as China have won in straight games so far. So the first 2 rounds, a round consisting of a 2v2 and then a 3v3, and then potentially a 3v3 decider, have both gone to China. 4 rounds straight takes the tournament for today. So it's a very different tournament format as well to what we see here in the UK. Very interesting way of approaching it. Right, next up then. So 2 rounds, entering the start of the third round. So this is the 2v2 opening game for the third round. Initial player choices, character choices being made. So we've got the big, heavy giant energy blast character being selected from Korea. Korea still seem to focus very much on this damage output set of choices. See who we're going to get in from the Chinese side. See if they're going to be sticking towards this drone player again. They seem to like him a lot. I understand that. You can put the drone out. It just ticks up. It just constantly pops shots, cross shots, and fires on the blind side into your opponents. Just helps tick away damage for you. It's a really useful ability to have up and out there. You don't really need to focus on it. It's autonomous. You put it out there and then you just carry it on your own gameplay. Okay, second choice from the Korean side. Okay, they are going for the clone player. So he produces a clone of himself on the court, giving you again additional firepower. So it's in some ways it's an equivalency towards the drone style. A little bit different the way it works, but definitely holds an equivalent route. And China going for the explosive damage. So we've got damage output from both sides with us. So damage output character and a summon character for both sides. So I think within the options that you choose in the characters, these are pretty evenly matched options. And again, no damage mitigation, tanking, or healing abilities being chosen from either side for this one. Just flicking through quickly on their respective stat choices. So just like in HADO PvP, they've got those 6 points to spend to split across their abilities. being the shot speed, shot scale, energy charge rate, and the effectiveness and power of the respective character's special ability. So it can be definitely interesting to see how that one plays through. So it looks like the team's now getting ready to come out onto court. I suppose you could say the choices being made here seem to be playing more towards Korea's preferred play style that we've seen. This real heavy, sort of aggressive damage output style. And China stepping away from their sort of tanking and healing combo. Okay, team's getting warmed up and ready to go. So, said, interesting to see how this one plays through. Very different approach from these two Chinese players from what we've seen from their national teammates in rounds 1 and 2. Pretty much still on the same tactics though for the Korean players to the previous rounds. So here we go, game on. Massive energy blast there, shifting off, trying to take the drone out, neutralize the drone there for a short period of time, but back in and firing again now. Drone quite high position and it sends cross shots over the court, so they're quite difficult to watch when they're coming in a very different angle from the players' shots as well. Clone now out on the court as well. First point in for Korea. So both sides with a high damage output character and a summoning character. So strong equivalencies in the gameplay styles between the two sides. 1 point apiece now. Korea still looking for their first, not just match win, round win, but game win in the opening clashes here today. If you keep this up, they might be in with a chance. But, second point in for China now, taking out the Korean player on the near side. Just trying to build up that massive energy blast. Got caught in the process. Nice barrage of shots coming out there from the clone. And that's it, 2-1 to China, trying to take it again. Even when they're both even when China step into what should be Korea's wheelhouse there with the high damage output combination of characters, they're still managing to hold on to those games there. So that's 5 straight wins now for China. 2 straight rounds. We're going to be going to the 3v3 game here in round 3. So just seeing that, really, really interesting the way those choices are being made, the way the characterization's happening. Korea really, really heavily focused towards damage output, which is what we're seeing, and that's just fundamentally it's not working for them at all. The Chinese players managed to land those hits time after time after time. The use of the drone to put those shots in from odd angles. In previous rounds, we've seen shielding and healing combinations, just giving them that longevity to just keep going, and keep the Korean scoring opportunities to an absolute minimum. The Korean team putting out loads of damage. We know how good they are in their evasion and targeting, but just not able to land enough hits, and themselves without that kind of that tanking and restoration abilities on their own side, really, really suffering. Because it's just a case the Chinese players just need to constantly chip down their life markers until they get the points and take the win. So, moving across now for the 3v3. We were moving across for the 3v3. Not sure what's just happened there. Oh, and we're back. There we go. So, character choice going in. Korea have chosen the drone player this time. They've got the explosive damage and the big massive energy blast character there going in as the first two China choices from China. So full out on DPS in the first two choices from China, but with that summon drone there from Korea. It looks like we might be getting the second summon character there as a possibility on the Korean selections as well. So having the drone and the clone character, that would put a huge amount of firepower out in the court if they went with that. No, shifted around. We're going for the shielder. So currently looking at potentially shields and shield penetration, and that character on the Korean side. Still look like they're debating. Could go either way on the choices still. But I think definitely that drone and shield combo, China have used it really effectively. I can see it working well. I can actually see the drone and clone working well too, because that's a huge amount of firepower between the drones and the clones. Having all those extra summons, it effectively was like 6 versus 3 at that point. Well, 5 versus 3 depending on how many they choose. Currently got a double clone selection there, potentially from the Korean side. So wasn't sure whether they could do it at this stage. No, chopping and changing around. Just wait for their final selections to be made. So we know we've got explosive damage and giant energy blasts on China. Looks like they might be taking the healer as the third character. It looks like the Korean side is drone, clone, and piercing damage. So with those, with the two summon characters with summoning abilities, that's effectively going to be a 5 versus 3 game. So Korea just looking now this time around to try to overwhelm the Chinese side in just straight firepower.
在直播间的各位朋友们呢，也可以来持续的关注一下HADO。像我们现在进行的这个比赛呢，是中韩的一个友谊赛啊。
See if that's going to be enough to again, whether that's as a tactic, as an idea, is going to be enough to try and help take the win. It's almost like Korea doubling down on this tactic of firepower, just trying to put more and more damage out there to try and get through this defensive play style that we're seeing coming out of the Chinese players. Okay, players getting ready for this roundup. So let's see whether the Korea doubling down on their DPS strategy and having the two summon characters as choices is going to be enough to finally overwhelm that Chinese defense. Big aggressive opening plays from both sides. A lot of powers coming through. Early heal going in on the Chinese side. Just really keeping those life markers topped up. Huge amount of firepower coming out. Drone and clone both already in play there from the Korean side. 2 points in already, though, for China. That combination of evasion and healing the Chinese team's playing, working on, making it so hard for Korea. First point in for Korea, though, but 3-1 now to China. Korea just unable. They're doubling down on this firepower tactic, just trying to put up more and more shots. And it's just not able to overcome this combination, this evasion, tanking, and healing format that we're seeing the Chinese teams use. 5-3 to China. Last few seconds now. This is going to be another Chinese win. 6-3, 6-4. Korea fighting back to the absolute last minute there, but China yet again taking the match, taking the win. That's 3 straight rounds, 6 games undefeated there for the Chinese players. And we're seeing again and again this Korea looking to build these huge attacking platforms, lots and lots of damage output, lots of aggression, huge amounts of shots being fired there between the drone summon and the clone character, but just unable to wear down the Chinese players enough, and the use of the healer there by the Chinese players combined with their evasion work, just enough to keep them constantly being pulled back from the edge to give them that win. I say tactically overall, real clear divides between the Chinese players and the Korean players. And you've got to say this: the evasion, tanking, healing from the Chinese players again and again dominating and standing head and shoulders above the damage output choices that we're seeing there from the Korean players. So. Something just happened there on the feed coming from China. Looks like we've got a little bit of a glitch. So hopefully they'll fix it. Let's have a quick look. No, we're getting that wonderful frozen head moment that all of us are so now wonderfully aware of from video meetings. So we'll try and get that back up and running as soon as possible. So in the short term, obviously we're on send messages over to Shanghai to try and find out what's happened there. So again, we're seeing this again and again, this repeated pattern of damage output, DPS from the Korean players. I mean, great evasion work, great shooting, everything we expect to see from them on the PvP side, but it's absolute focus on damage output. And whereas from the Chinese side, again, great evasion and shooting work, but a real heavy focus towards healing and tanking, and the healing and tanking taking it game after game. And I think tactically overall, there's a clear advantage coming in from the Chinese players, managing to really sort of step ahead using these tactics. So let's have a quick check back. No, we are still on frozen heads. Hopefully, we'll get that repaired and up and running very soon. But that is currently 3 rounds to China. If they take the next round, then that is a straight win. So 4 rounds to nothing. So really, Korea with a huge amount of work to do. They've got to try and take this 4th round. Otherwise, it is going to be a straight win for China in the opening rounds of the tournament. Let's go back. So what do we think? Frozen heads? Not frozen heads? Take a guess. Still frozen heads, which is not helpful to us there. So we're going to see if we can in any way get that fixed. Oh, apparently they're frozen as well. Everything's frozen. It's not just us. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a break at the end in Shanghai, just while they resolve that technical issue. So I'm going to put us back to our characters so we can have a look at them. So obviously we start to see quite a lot of play coming through these different characters, trying to get a feel for who these guys are now, for how they affect things. I think we haven't seen all of the characters. So we've not seen this guy. So we've not seen the Eleven who has the immortality ability. Not seen him come through yet. Seen a lot of use of Ryan, who's our shielder. Lin, we're seeing quite a lot from the Chinese side. He's the healer who restores health across the whole team. Diana, not sure we've seen her being played out yet. Leon, we've seen a few times, the piercing damage. But unless you're approaching using shields, I think she's... I'm not sure that really has a great deal of effect. We've only seen Nicholas on court once, who's the vampire, who basically does that. He's a tanky character, does damage to the opposing players and heals himself. He seemed really quite effective. The player who chose him lasted a long time. Shadow we've seen several times, and this clone that he produces on the court. That definitely puts out a lot of firepower. Still not sure how effective. Zeroxy being chosen lots of times for that massive energy blast. There, Hanzo we haven't seen used yet. Hanzo's got the stealth ability that mitigates damage. Otto pretty much used almost, definitely in the majority of the games today, producing that drone that's putting those shots in from up high and on those angles. Victoria we're seeing used a lot. So that's the explosive damage, where we get the first hit and then a secondary blast afterwards if it hit. Wukong, few times from the Korean players, not from China at all, putting that area effect across the court. It's great if someone gets caught in it, but if they see it coming, they can step out of it. Obviously, if you don't take damage, if you're standing in it. So once you know where it is, you can stay in avoiding it. But so a couple of characters interesting that we haven't seen played at all, and it is that the stealth character. Definitely one we haven't seen come through from the players. Or Deanne here, who's got the sort of the weakening and style attacks to her. So really interesting to see how they're making these choices, what they're choosing to do. But yeah, this really surprised by just how. Oh, got a message say we're back. Are we? Let's find out. We had a frozen head. No, we're on a blank screen. That's not very helpful. Okay, so we'll see if we can get that back up again. The wonders of trying to do match commentary on a tournament taking place on the other side of the planet. Okay, so we've got fourth round to go. Oh, and we're back. Where are we? We were there for just one moment. Come on, you can do this video feed. And oh, we're good. We've got a feed. So we're in our 2v2 round here. Unfortunately, it looks while we're having the camera issues, we've missed the character selection stage. So we're going to have to catch that up from the bottom of the screen as we go. Again, it's China again on the left, Korea on the right. China red, Korea blue. But this is the start of round 4. And our first chance to see if we're going to see any variation in the tactics themes, or are we going to see another sort of longevity and tanking combo from China, and another damage output combo from Korea. Here we go. Game on. Okay, so we have got shields and damage from Korea this time around. Damage and healing from China. So this is going to be much more about how can the shields mitigate damage to the same extent that the healer is restoring health to the to their team. 0-0 at the moment. Everyone's life markers looking pretty healthy. Constant heals ticking over there from on the Chinese side. But nothing really landing on the Koreans here either. So two teams at the moment very, very evenly matched. We come past the halfway mark. Nobody with any kind of clear edge here at all. Korean players slowly starting to work down the health markers there of the Chinese players, but that heal coming in again on the Chinese side and watching those life markers restore. Just can't give them any kind of break with that healer. Just keeps those life markers ticking back up. Good work on the shielding there on the far side. Koreans can just focus and fire onto the Chinese healer, but no, going to overtime. Obviously, the healing ability there on Chinese side really, really helping for this long play game. Neither side managed to land anything significant. Obviously, the Korean players can't restore their life marks in the way the Chinese players can, but those shields coming through constantly. And again, unlike normal where your shields are a limited factor, here, like all the special abilities, they're just on a cooldown. So there is no running out of shields that's going to happen here for the Korean side. Again, Chinese players being really, really worked down on their health. Can they land that hit on the near side here? Both Chinese players really down, and they've got it. Korea takes their first game win. 1-0 to Korea in overtime. Korean team there, and Korean players there really absolutely going crazy there with the outcome. Finally taking a game here. And it's that first time using shielding, first time getting those sort of tanking and defensive tactics into play, and it came through for them straight away. They got the win there. That healer on the Chinese side, though, making the Korean team's life so difficult. So now we're going to be moving on to the 3v3 for this round for round 4. China having suffered their first loss there, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. What kind of tactics they try and bring in with, but definitely that healing player causing so much trouble for the Koreans, getting so close time after time after time for getting that point in, taking the player out. And just having that healer just restore that life marker on them time after time. I mean, even if it wasn't your primary choice for how you want your tactics, very tempted if I had the first selection to just take that healer if I was Korea, to just deny it that character role to the Chinese players. But great work there from Korea to take their first game win here. Can they get round 2? So again, a bit of lag there, but look at it on the video feed. So sorry, see if we can catch up there. Let the buffering catch up a little bit there, and try and get that video feed back on up to speed again. Obviously, there's a lot of restrictions on data flow and video streaming and everything else coming out from China, and we're streaming over a really, really long distance. So we are unfortunately occasionally going to get those lag and delay moments as it comes through. But so first game win there in the 4th round for Korea. 3 straight round wins so far for China. If China take this fourth round, then we're basically done for today. I think that's the end point. So huge games coming up now from the Chinese perspective. They've got to win the second one. They're going to go to a third round decider if they do, which we haven't seen yet for the format for that. Or if Korea can take the second game, they're going to get their first round win and move it on again, because it's the first team to get 4 winning rounds. Okay, so character selection back up and running. Here we go. So we've got, or we did have, looks like the big machine guns, that big energy blast being chosen there from the Chinese side. And we're back again. So we've got explosive damage and shields from Korea. We've got shield piercing, drones, and big one-shot hits from China. So a lot of damage output from the Chinese team this time round. Explosive damage, shields from Korea. Oh, are we going to see the first play of the invincibility tank? Not seen him out on court yet. I mean, logically, reasonably, he'd allow, if you can, it's almost like having a personal shield. You'd be able to activate that and come right up onto the front line to put huge amounts of pressure on the other team, because you knew you got that invincibility in play. So you're not going to be damaged. I'd have been so tempted, though, to take the healer for the Korean side, but let's see where they go. So characters are locked in. They're just doing their relevant stat selections now across the 3 for how they're splitting their abilities between the character specials and the standard charge rate, shot size, and shot speed. But Korea need to win this to stay in. Got to try and take a round. It's 3 rounds to 0 in favour of China at the moment. So huge amount of work to be done from the Korean side. The commentators there in Shanghai just obviously giving us their thoughts at the moment, which I've got on mute, so you can hear mine instead. But right, getting ready to go across now onto court. Let's see how we plan out now in the 3v3. So Korea, we know, really hoping to get this win here, to take the first round, take it to a 3-1, keep moving forwards. But it's the first to 4, so best of 7 in the rounds format for today. From the sort of background chat we're getting from the team out in China, it wasn't expected to be as sort of a clearer run of victories there from the Chinese side as we've seen. Wonderful blow-up sticks. Seen a load of those at different tournaments. I think one of the very early World Cups they had them done, so they were red one side, blue on the other, so you could flick them around, so you could show the colour, the support for the team you were backing just off the colour, for whether you were having the red side or the blue side forwards on them. Make a really good noise as they bang together as well, which is kind of the point of them, really. So here we go. Teams coming out now. So China on the right there, on the red side. Korean teams coming out on the blue. Real different style here to what we've seen previously. Big damage output side from China, which has kind of been Korea's format up till now. Korean very much more on the defensive tanking and damage mitigation side, which has been definitely the show point for the Chinese players. It's our first look at the invincibility character as well, being played this time by the Koreans. It's really intriguing to see how effective that ability is. Obviously, we can tell from the rate at which different characters get selected by the teams, their relative popularities, and the way that the teams view them as useful or strategically beneficial. So, explosive damage, shield, and invulnerability from Korea. Mass damage coming out from the Chinese players.
好，等待一下蓝方确认自己的设备啊，大家稍等片刻。好的。
So Korea really, really got to try and take this one to get it through to get their first round win. Right, game on. Okay, interesting. Korean players have not invested into their special powers at all here. Heavy investment from China. Lots of standard gameplay stats on the Korean side. Fairly even at this early stage. It's mainly just a straight damage, dodge and shoot. Neither side having the any healing abilities though, so it is just a case of wearing each other's down, wearing the markers down. First points in for China. See the vulnerability being triggered there on the front line. Beautiful snipe shot there in front on the Korean side on the Chinese player, so 1 point apiece now. Second point in for China. Really working at that crossfire position in. Heavy fire coming in. Now we know the piercing attack definitely goes through shields. I don't know whether it goes through the invulnerability as well though. Korea definitely looking for that second point. 3 seconds, 2, 1, 3-1 to China. One game apiece then in round one, say in round 4 here. So that's gonna be our first time going through to the third round. So the third round is a little bit different. Again, it's a 3v3, but it's a blind pick, I believe. So previously you've been able to see the characters the other teams have taken. So you'll be able to think about counter tactics, counter choices, where you're going with them. Which always makes it much more tactical. And a big thing about who gets to pick first. You know, do you want more choice or do you want to know what the other team are taking so you can counter it? But I believe in the third round, the side round, it's a blind pick. So you do not get to see choices being made by the opposing team. And that's going to make quite a lot of difference here. So we could see some, obviously, you know, and I believe as well, you can also all pick the same characters as well in round 3. So really no way of telling what choices the other team have made. But unfortunately for Korea there, as you said, China very much stepping into the Korean gameplay style there of lots of damage output, whereas Korea shifting more into the Chinese style of the tanking and damage mitigation. And it seems like China do DPS better than Korea do tanking. So Korea now, absolutely, this is make or break stuff now. If China take this game, I believe they win the entire Friday tournament. Because that gives them 4 round wins, as it's a best of 7 format. Whereas Korea have to win this to stay in the tournament at all. So hopefully we'll be able to go back to teams very soon. Get a view of where they're going to go with their choices in this deciding round. So I said, China with this, they've got to, you know, even if they lose this even if they lose this game and lose this round, they've only got to win 1 more round. Whereas for Korea, they've not only got to win this game to stay in, they then have to win 3 more rounds to actually take victory today. So all of the work, all of the pressure is on Korea here. whereas the Chinese players, even if they were to lose this game and lose this round, they've just got to win one round out of the next 3 that come after it in order to take the tournament. So an absolute mountain to climb for Korea to try and get back into this tournament. And 80 seconds from now, it could all be over. So a huge amount of tactical choices being made on the Korean side here. The lead Korean coach Raji there making the choices with the team at the board. So let's see what we've got. So I said I believe these choices are now made blind, and both sides can choose the same characters. So we've got the big Washingen, the big damage deal character with huge energy blasts coming in on the Korean side. Looks like we might have clone players, so the Shadow clone player on Korea as well. They've got lots of shift rounds now. Players really trying to kind of hedge their bets, think about where things might go. We're going to see the stealth character for the first time. No, it's been selected off again. Try to second guess where they're going with it. It's actually quite good fun. Because there's so many options. And previously, obviously, they've seen where the other team is selecting, so they've been able to make those kind of choices. This time, they're selecting blind. I'm just trying to think about what is your best possible combination to go for. I mean, that looks pretty good there on the Korean side. So that would be drone, shields, and the Rashingan attack. That big one-hit attack. And we've got explosive damage. We've got shield piercing on China. Waiting for their third choice. They have the healer again. Healer, they've used him so effectively game after game after game. I'm just still surprised that Korea have not used that healing character once during the tournament. But shields, drones, and massive energy blasts from Korea. Healing, shield negate, piercing, and explosive attacks from China. But it's in definite sort of mix of characters being used from both sides. Said a couple of notable characters that haven't been used at all. So the stealth character, and we've only seen the invincibility and the vampire used once each. But for some reason, Korea really don't seem to like that healer at all, and China making use of him game after game after game. And there's multiple points where without that healer, Korea would have taken those games. So very, very surprised to see the Korean team just not selecting him at all. Lots of support coming in from the Korean players there for their team. Okay, here we go. So this is round 4, game 3 decider. Said if China take this, I believe it's the tournament win for today. Korea have got to take this to win this to just stay in the tournament. So huge pressure on the Korean players here. Right, can Korea do it? Can they fight the way through? Can they get back into this tournament? Or is this going to be it? Are we all over? We're done. And China ending day 1 in a 4-0 victory. Okay, here we go.
AK 对阵蓝色方韩国队，红色方这边是1144的一回血，加上
So seeing the shields and drones being used by China incredibly effectively. Let's see what Korea can do with them.
再次给上非常大的一个压力往前压。
So healer on the Chinese side, hard at work already, restoring the life markers. The teammates. Got a Korean player in the center there, getting very, very badly hit, and have gone first point into China. Again, Chinese life markers getting worn down, but that healer performing absolute miracles, pulling back those life markers again and again. Korea with a massive amount of work to do to try and mitigate that healing power. Point in for Korea now, 2-1 to China though. 30 seconds remaining. Got to try and mitigate that healer though. Just, I mean, the Chinese healers are doing an amazing job restoring this health to their team. 2-2 now. 15 seconds. Korea need that next point. It's China that get it though. 3-2 to China. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. China take the decider. That was amazing gameplay from both sides there. But again, that healer character being used by the Chinese players so effectively, game after game after game there, and he's just constantly undoing all the hard work of the Korean players. And I've got to admit, I can't. The Korean players just never selecting that character, not once, and I don't understand that. It was so important, so tactically powerful from the Chinese side, taking that healer. Really surprised we didn't see the Koreans take him, not in a single game. But amazing gameplay all around, some really interesting play. Still, a couple of characters we never really saw come to the fore. Some interesting choices, and that real sort of clear focus on longevity between healing and tanking from the Chinese side, and the focus on damage output from Korea. And from what we can see there, definitely that damage output, that focus on longevity for your players, keeping them in the field, keeping them going, being 100% the superior tactical route for the teams to go down. But thank you very much for those who joined us. Hope you find despite a couple of small technical errors there, our first attempt at doing a live simulcast with our partners out in HADO China, and a view of basically how the HADO World tournaments flow through, how they play, how it all works. And as I said, really interesting to see the routes the two teams are very heavily focused down, the characters they chose, the way they use their different characters against each other, and also the characters they didn't choose at all. Which undoubtedly means that, as with any sort of setup like this, as different iterations come out, as we move through different patches and versions, those characters that are very rarely chosen, we'd like to see them have additions and changes made to their setups, whereas the characters that are potentially overly chosen may go the way of all good MMO character types and find themselves just a little bit nerfed. So that is a straight 4-0 win for China today on the opening rounds of the HADO China Korea exchange tournament. Tomorrow we'll be moving on with both more HADO World, but also the HADO PvP setups between the two. They will be streamed, I believe, on WeChat for anyone who has it, live from China tomorrow. We'll be recording the footage overnight here in the UK, and then we'll be putting it out live for you to watch tomorrow with commentary. So if you don't have the WeChat setup or anything else to watch the Chinese matches live, you'll be able to catch them here with us on the UK HADO YouTube channel tomorrow. Hope to see you then, guys. Hope you enjoyed the matches. There's some amazing gameplay there. and we are going to be calling it a day here. So thank you very much, guys, and we will catch you soon.